Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and thanks for stopping by. Our dedicated team will guide you through with the latest updates and theories at Starbase, Texas. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for future streams.
9, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff.
G'day, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to RGV Aerial Photography's Starbase Weekly episode number 194. I'm Stephanie B, and today I've got Alex with me again. G'day, Alex.
Hello, all. Hopefully we have a good show.
And we've got Ryan Webber with us also.
You got me here. What could possibly go wrong?
So many things.
It's always a blast when I've got Alex and Ryan together. It's always a good show. So let's get into it. We'll start over at Massey's, I think. Let me see here. Yeah, there's Massey's. There we go. All right. Well, I've got this zoomed out shot because it was sort of the best shot to show this. Let's go straight to the LOX farm over here where we see the old LOX tanks being completely removed. All of the plumbing is completely gone for the actual tanks. So we really expect to see those tanks being removed soon, which is awesome. And the high pressure helium, is that right, Alex? Over here, the helium system?
Yep, the helium offload system.
Put my mic around there, and so that's all getting moved. So this could be room for maybe even these tanks to go in here.
Yeah, those tanks are probably going to go there and not to the launch site.
And
Yeah,
perhaps these are for pressure building, these tanks, perhaps?
I
thought of that right now.
Not doubtful.
Okay, cool. And I thought we're having in show and tells, maybe they can finally get rid of all this old nitrogen system and chuck it in here.
It depends on how they want to reconfigure it, but yeah, it's a launch site. The footings they're putting in for the tube replacement tanks don't appear they're going to be for this style.
Yeah, they're more this older style, aren't they?
Nope.
Oh, not even them.
Nope.
We just
They're either like the large ones at the Cape or the short larger diameters at the current launch site. But we'll get to that in a while.
Sure. Cool. Yep, no worries.
It'll be nice to
Okay.
finally see this entire system get redone. After they threw, I still remember when they initially put this system together and they commissioned it using Ship 25, where almost none of this was concreted. It was mostly still dirt. They were still in the process of building the booster stand, the booster station. The ship station had just been finished. That's how old this setup is. It even goes all the way back to some of the test popping tanks way back in the day. It's time for a redo, and they're finally doing it. I'm glad.
Absolutely. So should they clear this area here, it allows them a bit more room for even more testing hardware. Okay, we'll jump over to the, actually while we're on the LOX area, we did see they've done some more of that testing with the LOX farm. We can see the LOX pond there full of LOX, and we jump into the actual LOX farm. We can see frosty hippos, frosty heat exchangers, and even at the methane farm, there's is this a photo going to show? There's frost here on the methane tanks also. So they've been running the system again this week, like they did last week. I'm going to go into this something missing here. We can go and lead into that shortly.
Yeah,
So that's go on.
I was gonna say is just thinking about it. I remember when we thought that they would be using two separate sets of pumps, and then of course you kind of think about it, and it never really made sense for the lock side. And now they're just gonna go straight to using. They're just gonna use those that new LOX pump setup for everything now. They're just gonna route it all through there, which makes more sense. I don't know why you would have two different sets of pumps, and it seems that SpaceX is using the dual pump system for cryo plus static fire operations, like cryo and loading, like maybe at 39A. So I think Alex posed this question at one point. I think it's going to be curious to see what pump setup they use for the new Pad 1 pumps when they do that. Are they going to go to the big pumps, or are they going to stick with this from now on everywhere? Kind of curious.
Yeah.
And they seem to only use these dual pumps like at 39A on the LOX side, yeah, because the methane side at 39A is still the single pumps.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, and those are only used for loading propellant. They're not used for methane. Isn't used for any other operation.
Yeah, other than like a small tanking test or static fires or launch. It's not like they're using them for cryo. I think the only reason why they're using the small double pumps is because they're doing cryo tests plus they're doing loading ops. And I think maybe they can't do them both with the big ones? Question mark? I don't know.
It's flow rate. It's all about how fast they want to fill.
And we did notice, even with the pumps they've got at the launch site, so just not to go to the launch sites much, but we did notice when they loaded Booster 19, it was quite quick, yeah?
Yeah.
30 minutes.
Yeah, it's methane, the vehicle has already been passed approval and validated, so it tracks. And the same thing once it hits Pad 2, Pad B, it also, the vehicle's already been checked out and given its gold star.
Okay, we probably should not go much into the launch site right now. Over here at the static fire stand, they've taken the squeeze clamps arms off. But everything else seems to be on the tower still. That's curious with these things being down here. Alex, I don't think they're for over here anymore.
They're probably access platforms.
Because they have this thing here which doesn't work
Yeah,
for that.
that matches in with the tower legs, so it's probably access platforms. So they'll probably run up the column.
So somewhere like in this area?
They have another bridge, like they have mid-levels that hasn't been installed yet. They could be placing these down below where they have the 3 cylinders for the flaps. There's a lot of different. They could be platforms that they're going to put an access stairwell, and they're just landings.
I think we counted like 6 of them.
Yeah, and there's various sizes as well.
Yeah.
I mean, this structure, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your outlook, looks like it's here for
Here to stay.
a long haul. Yeah. So, and I can't tell as if they're taking down the scaffolding from the top in prep for a static fire or what they're doing here.
I would think if they're going to leave this thing in for the long haul, they're going to want to replace the scaffolding with a more permanent stairway. I would think,
Yeah.
because you don't want that scaffolding just sitting there. Because a more permanent stairway means you don't have to take scaffolding down for a static fire or whatever.
Such a pretty thing. Why would you want it to disappear? Okay, so yeah, not much to talk about on the actual on that, except yeah, they're going to put those platforms in somewhere, and they're working on the scaffold. Down here, they've been working on the railing around the static fire trench. Been taking these panels out and putting in like steel tubing in full lengths instead on the post. Which is an interesting change. So they still haven't fixed up the wall, though. My goodness, that wall. Especially when you look back at older photos.
It looks, if you go to 26, before they even fired it, that wall looked almost identical. It's all the angle. It's there. That was never finished. It's always has a rough finish. You can look at every excavation where they use the excavation wall as a formwork. You get a rough finish like that. I think that's something that's just been hyped. That's a nothing burger. And it's
I must be misremembering.
yeah.
Cool.
I pulled it up because it's a while ago, because it's been one of the things that it makes good talking points, but I don't think it necessarily meshes with reality.
You know, I'm like with reality some days. Alrighty. So jumping over to, no, not that area. Jumping over to here. This week they've installed the second of these heat exchangers, and they've actually started to hook up some of the heat exchangers and the water lines and the nitrogen lines. Now where's that top down? Just one of these shots here is a good top down. Let me just find it here. Oh, this one will do for now until I find a better one. So we can see a liquid nitrogen line here going into the system, and it appears this line here is a gaseous nitrogen line out.
Yep, and it runs to the gantry.
It runs to the gantry. This shot is the one I'm looking for. Now, because this one shows it much better. Yeah, so we've got liquid nitrogen in, which is, I'm thinking this line here is liquid nitrogen in, and then gaseous nitrogen out. And we've got a water in and out as well, which just seems to be part of the original, they seem to have tapped into this system here, the original priming system, whatever that system was. And it goes up to, now, it goes up to the, to the gantry. Now, I'm just going to quickly jump over here to Sanchez, because looking at this static fire stand, if I can find that photo again, dang it. They've added a manifold around the outside of the static fire stand with a T on this end. I'm wondering if they're somehow linked.
That manifold is the collection, the engine chill collection.
So it's still, because the last one was only, well, it didn't go all the way around, but this one does go all the way around. It's in the build site, that's why I can't find it. There's a nice straight down of it. Just 1 second. Apologise, just hang on 1 second. Sometimes you get rushed trying to find something, then you
So are
can't
they?
find it.
They're upgrading the pressurization system on the deluge itself, or I have
No, it looks like it's a purge system.
Oh, purge.
Yeah,
Here we go.
and
So it does, yeah, the engine chill, but didn't the engine chill only, like, it didn't need to go all the way around? I was just wondering whether maybe this is some kind of, like, DSS system or some kind of nitrogen sort of purge system or something. I don't know. I'm only guessing. That's why I was.
it's. I mean, the previous stand had the collect because those two. I'm assuming those are T's on the lower edge. Yeah, that faces a QD.
That's correct. Yeah.
And that's where they were collecting the chill lines previously. Whether or not they're still collecting it, all of it through the QD for the ship, which they kind of can, they kind of can't. Well, they can. I mean, it has a bleed line, but I mean, they could just be purging nitrogen under the skirt as well. I mean, but
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't look like they either have the RVAC posts in yet, unless those are.
Yeah, the RVAC posts have been a few weeks ago. We're back in Massey's, and I think last week they're somewhere back here, and they're they've been going on a journey of discovery lately.
They're still waiting for that system to go back in.
Yeah, they've been on a tour, so yeah. I mean, it very well might be Steph. They're just purging nitrogen gas under the ship skirt.
The only reason I ask is because otherwise, why would they need a new nitrogen gas system on the up on this gantry?
I mean, I didn't see that pipe yesterday when I was looking at stuff, but it tracks with what they'd be using it for, because unless they enclose this QD area, you really don't
need a purge.
Yeah, I mean, they could do the same thing. They could they would use liquid if they're using the Firex system. But yeah, if their concerns is still getting linking combustible gases, then yeah, a lovely purge system would be helpful. A fairly high volume one at that.
It is, and with being this circuit, it doesn't look like they actually are going to use those heaters from the launch site, does it?
No. I mean, so far, no. It depends what else they do to it. They're keeping those heaters and this is the first use that we've seen where it would have been a potential use case.
Because they've already got like this plumbed in here already with the in and out flow.
They don't. That's only the out. They don't have the inlet hooked up yet.
Isn't this the inlet here?
That right, but the outlet from the tank.
Okay, yeah.
You can't have this. You don't have a circuit.
That
line. Yeah, that was.
Oh, that's one to the top, is it? Oh, that doesn't work.
Is that the top one? Yeah, it might be the top one. Yeah, that used to be the return. That's a return. So yeah, the top fills of return. That should be the outlet, the tank inlet, the pump outlet. It's how it was previously. So yeah, you're right. I have.
So that's inlet, and then through the pump, and that's outlet.
Wow, that seems inefficient.
Yeah, that's why. That's why my brain was backwards then, because
Both of our brains were backwards there because of that. Just like, well, wait, that doesn't track.
Cool. So yes, and which really, and I was questioning whether it ties in with this system last week, but I think they're very much isolated
Yeah, it is.
because we can actually see the circuits now for that, the water and the nitrogen circuits for this system now, and it's totally not involved with this at all.
Yeah, and I want to look back at the previous system where they're using the large heat exchangers.
And it's not to replace this either, so because it goes straight to the gantry.
Yeah, it's completely independent. I mean, they No, I mean, they previously could have been doing something similar, but this way they have more control. Because it's operating at the same outlet pressure as these heat exchangers could operate at.
It's good to see them reuse, recycle, and whatever for using these heat exchangers.
Yeah,
At least.
Pulling water through those pumps just seems wrong on so many levels.
That's what space does.
Now the water offload. Oh, I've just changed photos. Dang it! The water offload still hasn't been put back in. I'm wondering what they're going to do with that. I'm wondering if maybe that's part of this system down here. That's not a good photo.
The end pump is the load pump of the three.
Yes.
And it's out.
So it's just still fully disconnected. So that still has to be put back in at some stage somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're hooking up a water line, so
yeah, they're doing that.
Static fires are out of the question for the moment, basically.
Yes.
I mean,
sorry.
Is there a vehicle ready to stack? But they could also hook it up to at the end of there's an inlet at the top there. But this one they routed into it intersects where they look because they're pumping the water here to the same location that one tags into.
Down here.
Yeah.
So actually, while we're up here, so quickly they've taken this control box out. But they seem to have completely removed it. They put a junction box here and a junction box up there. I'm thinking maybe they've taken this control box out and put it back into the control system back at the front gate of Massey's.
That's what they've been doing with a lot of Massey's systems. So they're just having relays or the signal lines going home running all the way back to instead of having local control islands.
Yeah, which seems it seems like a logical thing to do, to be honest.
And it's also why there's so much conduit, like it's a launch site, they're home running individual control lines in their own conduit, so you're having more isolation, physical isolation as well.
I wonder if they upgraded their whole PLC system, their whole computer control system when they upgraded Massey's.
Yeah, it's probably upgraded a lot after that.
Yeah, absolutely.
The S36 incident will go down in memory.
36, yeah, 36 was a real catalyst. I think a lot of this must have been planned already, but 36 really made them force their hand, basically.
Yes and no. I know from experience, you'll always have in the back of your head a laundry list of things that are pain points and solutions at the hand. At one of the companies that I worked for, anytime we had a major incident, we'd use that as catalyst to push through changes that had always been backburnered for company low priorities. It's unfortunate things that for a lot of change requires a body count.
Or major infrastructure damage.
Yeah,
Either money or money's the other reason. Yeah,
that's a body count. There has to be a severe impact to operations for most management to invest in low level stuff.
And they definitely had that here at Massey's, that's for sure, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, redundancy and availability is very, very expensive, and people only have to go kicking and screaming to implement it. And it'll usually take a couple of tries before they'll get it right. But that's in data center and compute context and storage. But it's the same technique.
And we're still yet to have a static fire here, so that'll be interesting to see 39 static fire finally over here.
It'll probably be just as uneventful as 19.
We hope so. Yeah, I'm sure so. I'm very confident of that. Okay, moving on. This week we see we had a really nice close up of the ship cryostand. Whether it's going to be used or not, still up to debate.
It's just a setup for structural validation, not for. If it was just for thrust puck testing, you would only have the 6 vertical actuators, the ramps. You wouldn't have the rockers and all the other accoutrement for testing the thrust vectoring.
It would need some significant modifications to bring it back to where it would test ships. It would thrust in ships.
It'd just be having a yard sale and stripping out 90% of what was added.
But they don't seem to be really doing much with it. So
they've been ripping it apart.
I mean, yeah, other than tearing pieces apart, I honestly think that I don't know if this stand will ever get used again. I mean, they built it, so they might redo it so they have 2, but there's a reason why they built the new stand, and the reason why they built it the way they built it. So,
well, this one they also modified to easily account for 6 more or 3 more RVACs. I mean, the main thing they did is they're elevating the inner ring. That was a major change they did when they rolled it back the last time.
I've actually lifted this as well.
Well, that whole ring is the support mechanism is completely different.
Yeah, I understand that, but I didn't realize I actually lifted the ring as well.
Well, I mean, lifted is in how it's being held up.
Gotcha.
It floats. If you look, those arms, the 3 assemblies that are holding it,
they should, when they need to, they should also be able to modify that nude stand to do it as well. They would just have to put in supports for the other 3. Really? It shouldn't be that hard to modify that other one as well for 3 more RVACs. It's just if a 9-engine ship is coming along, is going to debut alongside Block 4 booster, which is my guess, because of the extended, you kind of want an extended ship with the extra 3 RVACs for really pump up that Delta V, and then you're gonna want a bigger boost. You need a bigger booster to boost a bigger ship. Then they don't need a 9-engine test stand until like another year and a half until Gigabay is ready to build a Block 4 booster.
Hopefully they'll speed up their structural campaign if findings warrant it.
This photo shows the rocker system really well. So there's a pivot point here, and there's down underneath. There's an actuator down underneath down here that pushes and pulls on that part of the rocker. Then there's a hinge, and then this part here moves up and down to test the mounting for the thrust vector actuators. And then of course these ones here simulate side loading when the engines are thrust vectoring. So it's a really nice image this week of that.
Yeah, and it's great because it's sort of like the engineering exploded view with various components removed for clarity.
Yeah. They must have 1 million of these chain blocks sitting around somewhere around Starbase. Far out. Well, this came up as a question here. What are these actuators for? Are they putting side load on this engine mount as well? What's the go with these, do you think?
Yeah, they're probably inducing. We need to see from a different angle where where those center posts are tied to.
Down here. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, I mean where are they connected? I mean, it looks like they're off the column, but where's the business end hooked to?
Oh yeah, that end. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can see its anchor point, but what is it actually manipulating?
Yeah.
But they're doing something similar if we look at the flap portion on the old can crusher.
Except that it's internal. And these don't really suffer much side load, really, do they? Like
Vibration.
I mean,
they might be
yeah.
trying to induce vibration into the mounting yeah
to the right where the LOX inlet goes into on the RVAC.
Yeah, because this is testing that interface of where the thrust is. The engine thrust portion enters into the dome.
Yeah, because vibration wouldn't be solely up and down. There would be some other vibration frequencies in different directions too, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for that. All right, so let's go over to the Super Crusher area. So this week we see all 6 platforms finally put in place. We see over here they've removed the 5, not quite in shot on this shot. They've removed the 5 pull-down ram holders that attached to the can crusher cap. The 5 rams that were up here.
Thanks for reinstalling them. Those were gone for a while, I thought.
Yeah, they look like they are. They're working on them. It does look like they're prepping them for weld, yes.
Yeah.
They put the caps on top of the posts. Down in the guts, down in the middle, they've added this. Now, I'm being told that's a flex line, and that can actually come up vertical.
I don't think you would. That's a pretty steep.
Otherwise, why would it need to go down?
This is what they're assembling, sort of like the internal structures that they did on was the 1817-1 or 18 whatever was living here.
18.1
yeah.
17.
Yeah, the weird head cap that they had with all the other cylinders interacting. They're doing a similar thing inside the stand.
Okay.
Because they're configuring this so that they can test these. If they can buckle the lower wall where at the landing tank interface,
as well as seeing if they buckle the transfer tube a little bit, I guess.
The transfer tube isn't carrying that load. The transfer tube, it's how much excursions, but a lot of that was tested with the previous tanks that was here.
Plus, I guess
Go on.
I said plus all the transfer tube testings that they have at McGregor.
Well, yeah, that's where all that test validation's happening.
That's true.
And yeah,
But you think they're going to fill that area with cryo?
yes, they're damming it off.
Yeah.
If you look 2 weeks ago with the plates that were here, you can find the one that went there that had the 3 holes. There's 2 vertical and yeah.
So yeah, probably filling that up with cryo, and then you can fill up the entire tank from that point. Just fill it all the way up with cryo from that point, and then.
Or this might only be filled with gas as well.
Through here, I think.
Yeah, I mean the diameter of that looks more of it would be a gas line than a. But they're able to fill that from both sides. If you look directly across from it, they're adding the same sort of.
Yeah.
So this is that big hole that looked like an access hole this pipe's going through?
The access hole is right at about 330.
Hang on, we saw an angle.
You literally see the
We're looking at it, yeah. The previous one, we were looking right at the access hole stuff.
That's the hole there.
No, that was also the pipe hole. If we go to the other side, the access. Trust me, if you go to the previous.
If you go back to the image, you can see where the access hole is for all that.
Right, there. If you write that one, right down there is the access hole.
Oh, gotcha. Yep.
Yeah.
And on the plates that were on the ground, there's a corresponding one with plates with those size holes, so that they could.
Sorry, keep going. Sorry.
Basically, put a pipe inlet to connect the 2 inner and the outer. So yeah.
I wonder how long the rest of this reconfigure is going to take, because they're in the process of putting all the outer actuators back in order for to pull down on the cap. And then I don't know if all the attachment points for the grid fin tests are installed yet.
I mean, it looked like 2 of the 3 were installed and are no longer in front. And then if you see the little half circles on the outer wall, yeah, there's on the inner one. There's corresponding ones of that. So those are probably
actuators or something that's going.
Well, there's passages. There's like areas that they're expecting to be filled with liquid and areas that aren't. So So that
just about to ask whether these little half circles to span whatever that is underneath.
I mean, if you look at the 2 weeks ago, the inner one, they had those as well, and they all sort of lined up with. So those, you can basically tie that intersection in the outer annulus. So they're basically making isolation chambers.
So you're sort of suggesting that this is the floor this is going to be sealed to the test tank down here, so they can fill all this chamber with gas or fluid?
Probably will.
Yep. That's what they're doing at McGregor. That's what they did in 17-1.
Hence these plates as well to continue to seal?
Yep.
Okay. That's interesting. Cool, thanks.
Yeah, that's what they're doing that all over at McGregor, where they're testing the transfer tube. Whenever they put the shell over it, they're doing a similar thing there. When the shots from before they basically sleeve the transfer tube and put all the actuators in 17-1 or 18-1, whatever we call it, they did the same thing. We had all the actuators penetrating through the tank, and they had their bellows. So this is par for the course for their test campaigns.
So is this sealed in here as well? This wall, is that sealed?
Yeah. If we go back 2 weeks, there's a bunch of plates they had on the ground,
Yeah.
And that ring there is part of the plates are welded too. But yeah.
And we think this system here may be to test the LOX landing tank bracing system, maybe, that sits on the wall of the...
Yeah, it's to check to see if they can buckle the wall with the forces that the landing tank will be transferring into the wall. Because remember, the landing tank, does, at least from when 18 gave us this beautiful exploded view, does not look like it's anchored to the transfer tube. It's only anchored to the wall.
It's got a brace into the wall that's right behind it, and then it's got two not really truss pieces, but I'm trying to remember the word for it, but it's got
like a linkage.
It's got two linkages or more, or anchors that go outside at an angle and anchor to the two walls 45 degrees off, basically.
Yeah,
that's what they need to test. They need to test that if, like, on re-entry, whatever forces that this booster is going to take, will the landing tank buckle that wall under pressure? And if it does, then they have to reinforce it. If not, then their design is good, and they have to find that out before they fly. This test tank is basically required. They need to finish the testing in this test tank before they fly. Otherwise, they could have serious problems with their booster, basically.
Yep.
So they need to finish this reconfigure. 18.3 needs to be done inside the bay, which they're doing whatever they need to do it right now. And of course, that needs to leave Mega Bay 1 so that they can reconfigure the turntable again so that they can finish stacking 20. Because they can't stack 20. They can't finish 20 right now until 18.3 is out. And hopefully they can finish that soon. And then they got to finish reconfiguring this. Then they got to set this in and hook everything up and then test it. And then if they find anything, then they got to make modifications to 19 and 20 and on. It's May. It's going to be mid-May. I don't see how they're launching in April when they have to test this test tank.
Just to play devil's advocate, could 19 be slightly overbuilt? And this is to look further into the future, to start making the booster even lighter in more future variations of version 3.
You still need data. I mean, if we're assuming they're doing their even odds or two variation pairs, so 18 and 19 are of the same vintage, and then 20 would be a updated. But I don't know if they're still doing that process.
These bridges here seem to bridge these. They seem to have a thing here.
And if you look at the centerpiece before it went in, they also had those domes. They've had the half circles have been floating around Sanchez that would do the interconnect from the inside to tie those two spaces together.
Cool. That's a much brighter photo. So I've been installing the pull-down rams with their new special shrouds. So I feel we could talk about this for another hour. I'm just feeling like we maybe should sort of move on a little bit. But look, this is an amazing conversation.
Yeah.
There is a Tuesday show, so.
Yeah, true. Okay, we might do that. Thanks. Yep.
But either way,
let's... Sorry?
I said there's a lot to do.
Yeah, I'm getting what you're saying, Ryan. And yeah, people, you've been saying May and that for a long time, and people are going, "Oh, you're pessimistic."
Remember?
But every week, I can see it getting pushed back further and further and further. You know.
Remember when 18 blew up? It sneezed its guts out. It's my favorite term for it. After that happened, based off of timelines to get 19 ready, I will give SpaceX credit. They stacked 19 quicker than they've ever stacked any vehicle in the program, period, especially a booster. And especially it being the second iteration of almost a brand new design. Granted, it spent another month in the bay getting finished, but, I said June back then.
That was for optics, too. That wasn't for reality. because none of the test campaigns
Oh, yeah.
were done yet.
I said June after 18 blew its guts out. And here we are. We're looking at May at this rate.
And
I
Yeah.
don't know. If
agree.
it ends up being June, then that'd be funny.
well, the other thing is they have not started commissioning the tower for Pad 2 as far as propellant loading.
Yeah, they haven't even run through gas, let alone any liquids through the tower yet.
I mean, the good thing is what they're doing currently for the hot fire stand directly carries over. So,
But
It's
they
like-
still need to learn that side of the tank farm one way or the other.
Let alone
it's
not even
software.
having a ship. Let alone not even having a ship ready yet, too. Full stop.
They were testing the booster stuff for 6 months without having more than 6 months. It was in June is when they started doing the circulation tests of last year.
I'm waiting for the day that all of a sudden they start testing the ship side and the tower vent comes to light. I'm waiting for that day.
Soon.
Soon. All right, on to test tank. So I got to remember all the numbers now. 39.1. So they've put a plate on the QD here, ready for that test over there. They don't seem to have. Oh, it's shiny. What's that?
Ooh, shiny.
That's got wheels. It's a wheelbarrow. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And they're getting. They haven't hooked up any of this yet. They put all the pull down rods in. They still haven't hooked up any of these actuators yet. So we've got the actuators for the top hinge up here, and then down underneath we've got the actuators, or vice versa. We've got the actuators for the bottom flap actuator / hinge point. I'm pretty sure that's the hinge point, and this is the actuator system. And I think that rod there is just a simulator to simulate the actual flap.
I think if I remember correctly, it's been a bit though. But that's all got to get hooked up still. But if they're making, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a cryo crush test of 39.1. You know, in the near future, maybe next week after that. I don't know. We'll see.
And then there's this ram that it doesn't go towards the tank. Well, a comment in show and tells maybe they're going to use a lever in here to do some kind of load that way or something.
They do. It was the white lever arm that simulates a flap. Was sitting around.
Oh, that same arm, yeah, that was sitting here.
Yeah.
Is it that one?
Yep. That would be it. The flap sim.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Actually, while we're in this little area here too, they've just to mess us around again. They've actually taken all the rams out of this ring now. Since they modified the rams, they've actually removed them all now. Pretty well stripped it back to its bare shell.
The linkages in this is spectacular.
All linkages.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they too had to simulate all the different thrust angles.
Yeah, in a very limited space too in this one. Okay, Matt, we were going to have Indy. Matt, we might quickly go through some questions and donations while we think about what I've missed.
Well, funny enough, we don't have any questions, but we do have some donations, so I'll just run through those real quick. We've got Astro Joe with 1 gifted membership. Mats, aka Mike Alpha Tango Sierra, with 5 gifted memberships. Joe Coyote Man sending a $5 super chat saying late fee. Then we got Brian Aries sending a $9.99 super chat. Fly Jake also sending a $9.99 super chat saying Money for some sweet petrol love. Go RGV. And we've got Yazada with a $5 super chat saying another step towards the goal. And Turtle Sanctuary with $10 super chat saying an idea for converting used fry oil to methane to fuel booster and ship. Taco trucks assemble. And that's everything.
That's an interesting concept. Okay, so I think we've covered Massey's. Yeah. Actually, well, quickly here, the road's concrete all the way up to here, and they've got the rebar ready for the first half of the road. And they're still playing around with electrics a little bit in this little area. I'm not sure what they're doing exactly.
They redid the utilities that were crossing. They I think, put in the water line. And I think they also put in the water line when they were doing their utility work.
Oh, that's right. The water line that came up the driveway. Yep, that's what that's for. Yep, of course. Oh, here I was thinking this heavy machinery here is getting ready to concrete the last bit of Massey's.
A girl
Surely
can
dream. Surely one day, for sure. All right. Let's go over to Sanchez then. Moving right along. Oh, good. I got it right. Let's start over at... So we didn't actually find anything really around this area, except there's some stuff that's at the launch site now, not here. We'll move over this way just a little bit, and we've got the slides here for the version 3 upgrade for the booster transport stand. And actually, so I've got a photo from the port. Let's quickly jump over to that. These were spotted at the airport before the flight on what was it, Friday's flight? They're beefy. When you look up close, they're quite beefy machines. Pieces of steel, these. So the booster sits on here. And these, some of the, I think that's maybe where that, some of the, we see equipment, I think, bolted there, I think. Anyhow, that's them. Ship transport stand, all the pieces are here and mostly welded together. They're really pumping out these stands. It's a pretty quick process to build a ship stand these days. Last week...
I wonder what those hoses are for, huh? Right, Alex? I wonder.
Yeah, I know. Mystery.
It's just a complete mystery.
No clue.
Methane?
Yeah. The 4 new methane tanks.
And those massive, the big T piece we saw last week, I found where they belong to when we get to the launch site. They're for the methane pump farm, but not to do with actual liquid methane. Now, actually not to do with methanol, they're to do with nitrogen gas. So, moving over here, the stands are much the same. That transport stand hasn't had much work done to it. Sanchez is going to be fairly quick, I think, this week. Over here is interesting. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, more plates for building another truss section.
Over here?
Yeah, there's a square tube. And just to the left, there is the plates.
Yeah. So, actually,
it's a break.
Well, there's more of those things. I saw them somewhere else too.
Right across the way. Yeah, they're right across the way.
So that makes 24. So going on that truss just while we're here, quickly, they've built a second one. Any ideas where they're for still?
Nope.
Public.
Breakover. Everything's a breakover. Actually, we can see it here. There's some actuators. Oh, I can't quite see. Yeah, there's some actuators here now. And there's this. There's a better photo. I'll come back to that quick. I'll just go over to the OLM quickly while we're here, actually, on this photo. Over at the OLM building area, they seem to be getting... they've got these frames here. Have arrived. Oh, where's the truck? There's a trailer with the fourth one of these and the center totalizer station as well.
It should be down. It was down by the inventory tent in Highway 4 at one point.
Yeah, it was here at one point. It was actually over there too in one of the photos too.
It's further down. It was on the... it used to be sitting in that corner right where the orange forklift was.
Either way, it looks like they're getting close to maybe starting a new mount here.
It is.
Yeah, they've moved all over the place through the flight. Yeah, that's what I was saying. They've got the fourth one of these holder-uppers for the corner section on the next level up though, so they've still got a bit of work before they need these. And the totalizer station stand as well with its forklift mounts.
I mean, that takes...
The base doesn't take that long to do. It's that middle section, the mechanics section that takes forever to build.
Yeah, most of the welding is done within a month. It's finishing.
But I guess we shouldn't wait. It shouldn't be too long until we see a mount start to show up here, and which means the one for 37 will start up. I wonder if they'll both be delivered at the same time, or if they're going to deliver all the steel for this one, then they're going to deliver all the steel for 37. But
37 is about 3 months behind.
Yeah,
at least.
So yeah, pad 2's first to be finished, then 39's next to be finished, then pad 1's next to be finished, and then 37's last to be finished so far.
Yeah, 37 is going to take a bit.
Yeah,
because they have to do everything from scratch. It's just that way back, I thought that it would take much longer before they would do pad 1 because they didn't have their land expansion. Well, they got their land expansion, so they can finish pad 1 before they ever finish 37. So.
Yep. Coming to the grid pin tester, here's a bit of hardware that really drives home that this is a grid pin tester. We've got the grid pin adapter that to sort of simulate the booster side to slot into that hole there, and then the grid pin can jump straight in, and there's a couple of actuators have arrived for it as well.
I wonder if they'll test the mount system or something. Well, they're going to test that on 18.3, but I wonder if they're actually testing the grid fin itself against loads like catch loads or something.
Catch loads are
which are
light. Yeah, it's
maybe the actual driving mechanism against return loads then.
Yeah, it's probably.
I can answer that. Because they've got the actuator mounts here and here, they're going to put force on the grid pin, and they're going to be able to test the strength of the actuator for torque loading on the actual actuator. Also, it's the actual... Yeah, this is all about the actual grid pin and its actuator, nothing to do with the booster. The booster side's being tested with 18.3.
Yeah, it's to see if the assembly that's holding it warps, binds,
which again seems like something that has to get done before flight 12.
Yes.
We keep coming across newer and newer testing things that are like, well, either they could just risk it for the biscuit on 12 and wait to have this stuff done for 13, or this needs to be done for 12.
Or the 12 is just going to get pile drived. Just going to completely yeet it, which doesn't seem like them. But it's... I mean, again, this goes back to the premise of 18 on zipping, 36 doing its show. there's
really
other
hoping
things. There's other factors involved of why everything gets being pushed out,
like
and it
the
probably all
more
comes back to personnel. They probably don't have enough. If going on SpaceX's job board, the thousands of jobs it looks like they're looking for, it's insane.
Quick question for you. Crane Man's wondering, could those two big beefy trusses possibly be put upright to support this grid fin test article?
No.
The dimensions don't really
I don't know why you would
line
need
up.
You do in a way if you put the flat section on the ground.
The parts for the third one kind of displace that premise, in my opinion.
But there's no need for it either. There's no need for this to be anywhere but on the ground.
Well, it would be as if a reaction frame, because you don't want this. If the forces are planning on pushing through with the actuators, you wouldn't want this frame to distort or minimally distort as possible.
True, but it's already beefy as, man.
I present you the forces that the grid fins are probably going to be tested here, probably as high, if not higher, than what they were using ibuprofen for on the clamp arms.
Yeah, what's their speed when they're coming down?
The loads that those grid fins go under when they start to really re-enter the thickest parts of the atmosphere, and they're going from like through the transonic regime.
That's not where the max loading is. When
there's a max Q point.
That's where they're and that's where they're getting, and that's still in the
supersonic.
Yeah, it's not transonic regime yet. Once you're going once the grid fins are experiencing transonic, they basically turn into barn doors, and the air stops flowing through. So yeah,
but basically, I meant to say supersonic. Basically, it's gonna be. This is testing max Q on reentry, where the booster is like I don't really know how fast, but it's moving at a multiple Mach number basically on reentry, and then it hits that point, and a little bit after that, it then ignite its landing burn and whatnot. But they're gonna the booster, those grid fins. I don't even want to know how many G's they go under when they hit that max Q point. But that's basically what they're testing here, is because they need to know that the newer, bigger grid fins can, especially the mount itself or the motor, can withstand it. And if it can't, they have problems. They can't control the booster, and if they cannot control a booster coming back, then what's the point?
Yeah, it's catching is more than likely quite substantially lower forces on the grid fins than any aerodynamic forces. When
you're talking, catching is probably it's the weight of the booster plus a little bit more, because I mean your velocity is not that much at that point. The forces on a catch is nothing compared to what those grid fins take when they're traveling through supersonic air, or air is going past them at supersonic speeds. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, it's
Alex,
how much.
Is that load because it's supersonic? The air presents like they say a supersonic jet when it's going supersonic. It's not like because air is no longer compressible once you go supersonic. So is that because air is not compressible anymore? It puts a lot more load on the grid fins.
The way grid fins work, and the way the shockwave, each of the little blades is an airfoil, and they produce their own. They have their own shockwaves, and when it's transonic, parts of it it's choking, and let's see which one of.
Can you imagine a Slarian image of the booster on the way back?
Yeah,
with all those points. Oh man.
when it's going with the shockwave, the angle of the shock waves that's being created when it's hypersonic, it passes through the hole, and as you're getting closer and closer to supersonic, those shock waves are converging, and at one point they basically are all interacting with each other inside the mesh, and that essentially makes it opaque as far as airflow. Airflow stops, so it just turns into a solid surface as far as aerodynamics, air passage is concerned. So yeah, so the flip side is except in that when it's in that flight regime, the loading and that it takes to move the fins and for how much control they give you it takes less torque with moving grid fins than it would a fin for the same amount of control authority. But I think this is testing because the grid fins are showing up essentially as sort of a one-piece unit with the fin attached into the motor assembly, and so they're holding the motor assembly. So if the bearings inside that sub-assembly bind, and that's what they're testing for in here, then they have to redesign that portion
to make sure they can actually still operate the pin under maximum load.
Yeah, so it's not flexing its internal confinement, essentially.
So it looks like there's 3 actuators, one for the end here up and down, I guess, and 2 in the sides here to sort of put the load. Well, they can, I suppose these 2 can push vertical load as well, but to put some twisting load on it as well.
Right.
And maybe they can, when they use the actuator, that these can sense, these could be allowed to give a little bit so they can actually make sure the actuator still moves.
Yeah, the primary force is going to be pushing up on the fin.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But under that load, they need to make sure that the actuator can still actually move the fin.
Right, and that it's not, when the whole thing is getting torqued from that pushing up on it, and one side's in compression, that they still have enough rigidity that they can pivot and do.
Okay, grid fin hour with Alex. That was awesome. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much more on a lot of these things than we realise at first glance. Things aren't always as intuitive as you might think sometimes, especially when it comes to supersonics and especially hypersonics, I think.
Yeah, it's
a gateway to Mars sign.
Oh, yeah, this too. Why with that? Yep.
There it is.
Way. Yeah, way.
They're bringing back that 90s PC Maker gateway.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the BZI Busy site. So they're still making panels. We've discussed this a little bit. There's a couple of different systems of this, but this one's the system they're using. So they've got their lifter uppers here. I guess there is some movement this way with this system here, I guess. So they lift them up with this and slide it over here and drop it down on there.
Yeah, and they probably have little suction cups on that, and they're sucking the pad
our resident architect is telling us that these are more than likely insulated panels. So they have the insulation already inbuilt into these panels. That'd be filler kit.
I would assume they would use insulation on or some kind of insulation on Gigabay, because they're going to want to be able to. It's hard to control an environment in a building that big, that open. It's not the easiest thing. Just look at the VAB.
Apparently, it's an energy. It's a what do you call it? An energy. They call it with an energy regulation or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
But they'll control it as much as they can for build processes and weld quality and all that other stuff. Plus, you really don't when you're having that many vehicles and that many people in a building, you really don't want them working in an incredibly warm environment, building vehicles like that. That's just not safe,
Well,
especially
Yeah,
inside vehicles.
they want the controlled environment.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like high bay in mega bays. I think technically were built considered as just windbreaks, not as actual
Yeah.
enclosures. And this is actually having to be built as if it was a sealed structure. So yeah,
Yeah. All that door does on the mega bays is keep the wind out. That's all it does. It doesn't seal it.
slows it down. Slows it down.
Yeah, it slows it down. That's all that door does. It tries to keep some dust out and whatnot. This building will actually try it. Like, they will keep those doors closed as long. The only doors that'll most likely stay open and really won't even be doors will be the stacking stations to the Star Factory, because we know they're going to merge those two, and the main large doors will only open when they move a vehicle in and out. Otherwise, those will likely stay closed unless it's a really, really nice day out in South Texas, which sometimes you get those. Those doors will likely stay closed at all times.
And wasn't there an issue too with sun getting on one side of the barrel sections and deforming
Yeah.
them a little bit?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Mega Bay 1 especially had a massive problem with that. They won't have that. Of course, they won't have that issue anymore with an enclosed building. So, weld quality would be better. It'll make everything better once they finish these bays. That's kind of why they're trying to get it done as quick as they can, as safe as they can. But when you have a building this large with this much steel, it takes time to do it.
Yeah,
Very good.
way back in my youth, was interning at Boss Film Studios. They were shooting Air Force One, the hangar. They were doing the practical shoot for in Van Nuys at the airport. From morning, they originally tried to fly the MoCo rib off of the existing ceiling, but they're having over an inch and a half over movement over the course of the day from thermal expansion.
Yeah, most airplane hangars are not or they might be slightly insulated with heaters, but like
Yeah.
during the summer, the doors are open, and it's just the outside air. There's no air conditioning. I could attest to that. A hangar I've worked in up in Minneapolis, there are some days where it gets hot and humid out, and the floors just get slick with the humidity. And SpaceX needs to not have that when building rockets.
Okay, we're going to move on a bit here. Now, this machine here took us a bit, but Matt finally came up with the answers for this. This is basically a high-tech computerized tagline system. So when they're putting the panels up on the walls, these, instead of having taglines with tagmen on them, they have these winches that'll precisely line the panels up from the ground. They'll precisely line the panels up. So they'll attach to the panels that are up in the air, which is attached to the crane, and this will line the panels up exactly as they're putting them into place, which is bizarre, but anyway, that's the system that it is.
They use the same when they're computerized tag systems when they're putting the armor roof on the OLAT, and for a lot of the OLAT lifts, they also had the controlled winches doing it.
Oh, and the lift that just... Oh, I was wondering how the tag lines were going to work with the tag. Okay, they did that at Tower 2.
Yeah, there should have been trailers with the winches on it. And yeah, those are all controlled.
And just quickly, while we're here doing the paneling, well, that didn't work. Here's some of the paneling being put on. We're going to go over to the build site in a minute anyway, but we see this telehandler in Sanchez right now with their specialised load spreader here. They don't have that tagline machine operating here yet, I don't think. No, the red lines aren't here yet. Maybe they need it for further up in the air once they start using the crane, I guess. Thanks to Abbott Space and, of course, Vix. Be sure to go and give Vix a follow on X. Oh, actually, that wasn't one from Vix, sorry. That one was actually from Niall. But anyway, be sure to go and give Vix a follow anyway, because, Vix, I use a lot of Vix's video footage for a lot of things around the place. Actually, while we're just here too, This is a picture from. I've got this in the build site. I might wait till the build site. Actually, I'll leave that for now. Okay, so back to Sanchez. I'll go to the build site in a second.
You
It's
big
not a great
tease.
Yeah, right.
story.
You're just being big tease.
Yeah. So this week they're onto the breakover / transport / perhaps area. They're assembling one of the, I guess, bearing turntables for like one end of the load. So maybe SPMT's under here, and then actually there's a photo of that over here actually of that lot here. These other parts probably tie into this, yeah. These parts here may have something to do with that as well.
And
Which there's a third one of now.
And if you head to the right edge by the third one, there's the two plates. One of them has a turntable in it. Down one. Those kind of, yeah, as well.
Looks like one massive transportation jig they're building.
Yeah, that looks like the ones that when they join the two trailers together. But yeah.
So there's a couple of ways I can do this. If they can have like a wheel set at one end of the boost and a wheel set at the other end, not necessarily needing a spine in between, or they could have a spine in between.
I wouldn't necessarily. It depends how rigid the structure is, if they're worried about it buckling or not.
Yeah,
Sure.
It depends on the booster itself. If they think the booster can take it.
Now, I would laugh uncontrollably if they're using what we think are Gigabay crane rails mounts as a spine. That would just be perfect.
Cool. And maybe this is a cradle that like even sits on here as one of the attachment points. Is the cradle?
Yes.
Does it have any cats in it?
You know what they're gonna do too when the booster sits into the cradle. To keep the booster in there, they're just gonna use cargo straps.
Yeah, probably.
The yellow U-line straps.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. Come on.
Yeah. What else would they use?
Yeah, you can see the ends even flare out a bit.
Yeah, to allow.
I thought it might be I thought maybe like a snap in, Ryan. So kind of like snaps in.
Oh my god! Snaps in. The snaps come back in and dent the side of the booster.
No, that would be bad. That would mean yet another structural stand they need to test it to build. Can we buckle it?
Test if the booster could do that.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
What do you like, Matt?
Love this world.
They may not. I would be curious to see what they'll use to hold the booster in, unless the booster's just gonna kind of rest in it. Because it's not like the booster could pop out. It really isn't gonna go anywhere. The booster itself weighs too much to just pop out of the cradle. But you'd want to find a way to secure both ends between one another, whether it's holding the booster against the cradle by strapping it in, or some kind of piece to put over top of the booster and bolt it in, or you have something between the front and the back that hold the front and the back at a certain distance so the booster doesn't slide forward and backward. I don't know. Who knows? We'll find out.
Right? So, look at some of the heavy haul sites like Mammoth stuff probably would. Yeah. There are people who their entire world is heavy haul, so yeah.
Oh, I bet when SpaceX went to design this thing, they probably went to some of those companies and went, so how would you do this? Because they've moved things far bigger than a booster before.
Sure, yeah.
A lot of this looks very reminiscent of the Saturn V hardware for the first stage. And yeah.
I bet SpaceX consulted a few different people who have had experience moving large objects like this, and this is
Yeah.
they probably worked with the design to come up with it. I mean, SpaceX has worked with NASA to come up with NASA helped them come up with the heat shield design that they currently have.
And if you look at for LA's Science Museum when they're moving Discovery, is it? And the tank, yeah,
Yeah, the external tank.
yeah,
It
all of
was
that hardware.
Endeavor is what they moved. It was Endeavor.
Okay, when they were before they were stacking it, so much of the transport material stuff looks like this. So yeah,
Did you? This is a little bit off, but did you see the request for proposal for moving Discovery?
I don't want. Oh,
I
and
don't
how they
really.
just the front of this trolley, yeah.
Yeah, that's the external tank moving. Yep.
That came up in show and tell about the Saturn V and the shuttle tank. That this looks very similar. It reminded other people too of that same system, Alex. Yes.
Yeah, I found. Don't know where it is. I'll mail it to you. The a nice picture of when they're doing moving it at Stennis.
Now over here, it looks like they're doing line boring on this. So this will be a pivot point. There's 4 pivot points now, and this almost looks like the half diameter here. Say there was a ring sitting up here with the vehicle above it. When they break it over, it would now be able to fit vertically here. The ring, if you know what I mean.
If you look over at the yoke, we from the opposite angle, there's 2 pivots on either side of that straight segment in the back. No, the back row. Yeah, there's a pivots there that line up with the inner ones.
Oh, I got you with these. Okay. Which might mean an axle all the way through, but it's only pivots from in here.
Well, the top ones could be for actuators. Yeah, it depends where they want to do the angle of rotation from.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Very good.
And
Very
that
good.
one
Right.
is the big yoke there is screaming that they're just going to be using like those plates, yeah. Look, and they have the ground piers around it. So yeah, and they're all lined up to the right holes for the booster. The new style offsets.
So this can all be for booster and ship.
Yep.
Perhaps.
Yeah, that's their common hole pattern. I personally think they're going to use this square stand for the booster, and that's why they have the little slot wedges in that ring. I think the ships will use their normal transport stand.
Yeah, and maybe a different top for the ship. Maybe something different holds the top on the ship and compared to a booster. There might be something slightly different between the two, but the bottom should be a similar sort of breakover system. Something that's interchangeable anyway.
Yeah.
And
Well,
maybe
there'll be the
slightly different
breakover
at this end.
system, and there'll be the transport system.
Yep. Oh, I can't wait to see that. So that's one of those plates. I thought maybe that actually would somehow tie in with this, but obviously they're 2 different things. So maybe a forward hinge, like bearing pivot point system, and an aft one maybe. Because still at this to go as well, another one of these. So this is upside down to compared to that. I think I worked out in the show and tell. You can see the flat plate down the bottom and the hinge the bearing down the bottom. And over here on this one, you can sort of see the flat plate down up on top now and the bearing up on top now.
Except the mounting point on the other one is different. The purported top piece that connects to this.
This down here.
No, the section that's going to be the bearing's going to be bolted to the other cradle. Yeah.
Yeah, they're different. Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily.
And there's still these little odd pieces here and there around the place that still haven't quite figured them out yet.
Well, if you look at the pieces at the storage yard, some of those look like they haven't been assembled yet.
All right, cool. We might leave that one for Tuesday. Alrighty. Let's keep moving on a bit here. We've already looked at that. Oh, hang on. We missed something, didn't we? We missed this thing. So we worked out that this is the side that goes to the gantry with the SQDs on this side. So this side over here is going to be for maybe, so the ladder should be on this leg. So this could be something like we see on the other stands where there's some hydraulic systems, like the actual HPU.
And if you go back to that staging lot across from the ground fab building, there's a crate that may or may not be related to this.
Hydraulics, the PTU? Or
I just spotted it a second ago. I haven't dove into it when we were looking at the photos on that side.
well, all I really
No, further down the ground fab building.
all that thing really needs now is hydraulics.
Down, see the crate in the staging square where it says MPH 10, where the 4 hoses for the methane tanks. So down. The crate, or is that just a vaporizer lid? I can't tell. I was curious what was in that crate.
And it's probably a better photo than that.
But now that I'm looking at it, it might just be a vaporizer lid. It's thinking they might have snuck in the whole HPU unit, but that looks like it's just unassembled stuff.
That thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
But either way, it just needs its hydraulics.
Yeah.
And it's done.
Yeah.
Which, again, let's see if 39 uses it or not. I mean,
40.
considering everything else they still have to do, I don't know why you don't put 39 on it at this rate. There's so much other to do, and you're telling me you're not going to take like a week of time to put 39 on it, roll it out, thrust sim it with a single cryo, unless you want to do more than one, and then bring it back and then install engines. It's not like it's not like anything's waiting, right? And I don't even think that stand is even remotely ready yet for a static fire, let alone not only the Massey static fire stand, but the actual stand itself. It doesn't have RVAC mounts on it, so why not thrust sim it? That's kind of where I'm at this point.
Does this trolley being out maybe suggest that 39 might have its engines?
We haven't seen anything roll, but then again, it'd be hard. It could be missed. There's really no way to know if it does or doesn't, to be entirely honest.
True. Yeah, true.
It could have engines. It might not have engines. I'm
There's
going to go with it doesn't.
There's something we know is probably getting engines installed.
Yeah. And it's
the booster,
19.
yeah.
It's getting all of those plugs taken out. A lot of that test hardware moved out of the way. It's going to get all 33 engines. Then they're going to install a bunch of test hardware for all 33. And then they'll take it out, probably do a couple of static fires, then roll it back, and then get it ready for flight. So I still think Booster itself has 6 weeks left of testing to do. Or 6 weeks left of assembly testing or more before it's ready for flight. Minimum 6.
Calendar or Elon 6 weeks?
We'll make that an Elon 6 weeks, so 8 weeks or more. Like I just don't know if Booster would even be ready in April. Maybe end of April Booster's ready. Like what? How many weeks we got until the end of April at this rate? 5? 5.5? Like,
they have a lot of balls and they're juggling right now.
there is so much to finish before they fly.
It'll be spectacular or spectacular.
All right. Excitement guaranteed one way or the other.
All right. So now the legs haven't been welded on the feet, so we kind of maybe think that they might roll it to the Massey's first and put the feet on the bolts at Massey's and then weld the feet to the stand to make sure it gets alignment properly. Just as a minor detail. Because the feet were here, they're not here anymore, so we think they might even be able.
They're already at Massey's.
They're already at Massey's, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
they're
just put
by
it-
the inventory tent. There's a 4, and there's also the plates are there too.
Just put a ship on that, roll it over there, line up the feet, and weld the feet on, bolt it down, and then thrust sim it. You can do that with 39 on top, right? There's nothing wrong with that.
I think
Unless we see it roll out, do that, roll back, grab 39. That'd be kind of funny. We'll see. But the next production to Massey's closure should be 18.3 because they need that out of the bay. So.
All right, now Sanchez. I think we're pretty well done at Sanchez.
There's 18.3's stand sitting there.
Up.
Up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ready to roll. Yep. Yeah, last week I was sitting here just with one SPMC under it. Oh, they just stole that one, put under it. Oh, no, they haven't. That's a different set of axles. All right.
I got a couple things real quick too. Whenever you're done.
Sure. Yeah, go for it, Matt.
Okay. We got a really nice PayPal the other day. $10 from a guy named Caden. And he says that he's about to graduate with a bachelor's in mechanical engineering and commission into the Space Force. And y'all's content keeps me motivated to help build the future, and I appreciate all that you do. Well, thank you, Caden. We appreciate you, and good luck with that. That's going to be a really interesting and fun career, I think.
Nice, and good luck, yeah, for sure.
And good luck in the service, too.
Mm-hmm. So the other thing that we got was 5 gifted memberships from Big Luscious for Life. And they had a question. Do we know if the solar panels along Sanchez are still active? There seems to be quite a few that are broken or missing.
The windbreak? The shade structure?
Yeah.
Yes, they look abandoned.
I kind of
forgot they were even solar. I forgot they were even solar panels, to be honest, actually.
Yeah, they are
They're probably
pretty beat
still
up in
used,
certain areas.
I can't see why. I mean, they've got like a 30-odd year lifespan. There's no reason why the ones that are still there are not fully operational. There's no reason at all why they're not fully operational.
30-year lifespan as long as you take care of them.
Well, and it depends how they're wired, and if since these don't have microinverters, the whole string is interconnected. So all it takes is one damaged out of your however many they're stringing together before they go to the inverter to bring that whole string down. So yeah.
Unless they have microinverters, one on each one, but that's wow.
For large installations, you don't usually do that because efficiency.
I think they're probably more than likely still operating. Okay, thanks, Matt.
Yeah, that's everything we got.
All right, let's go to the build site. That's not the build site still. I'll get to the build site soon enough.
It doesn't?
Is it that file? Oh, there it is. It's that file. All right, cool. Now, build site, Gigabay. So they're continuing with the level 4. The other side around's a better image, actually, for what I want to show. So over this side, these these the bay walls here are half-size columns, and it looks like where they're going to finish on this side, as is the centres. And over on this edge here in the stacking bays, the columns are full height and still going up. So I guess that's something to do with bridge crane access. And concrete, I'm not sure about the concreting, so I really need BJ to give us a bit more detail on the concreting. It doesn't appear to be a lot of more concrete going on. I think this side here we could see this. I'm pretty sure this half is new. I can't remember last week whether it was 2 or 3. They might have done this concreting here and this concreting in the last week, and they're continuing up here with some more rebar up here. Don't quote me on that. We can see the cutouts. Hi, Morgan. We can see the cutouts. Oh, we could see the cutouts. What's going on? There's cutouts in here for the services to come up through. Sorry, my dogs are barking. Why can't I see the cutouts? I'm looking at the wrong spot. What's going on?
They're there.
Oh, they're hidden. I see. Sorry, yeah, there they are. Sorry, yeah. My silly eyes aren't working. Thank you. And we saw in that video earlier that they're putting up the actual cladding panels, which is pretty awesome. So it still looks like we're having white down the bottom.
Can't wait till this thing is done. It's gonna look so cool when it's all said and done. But we are still a long way away from that. Oh, there's a lot to do on this bay.
Absolutely. Yeah, once the actual framing and the cladding's up, there's still so much to do inside. All of the
Electrical, main lights, bridge cranes in, build all the work stands plus all the work platforms that go up inside and every single cell, the turntables. There's a lot.
Shine cranes and shine jigs and all sorts of stuff.
Shines or strikes?
Same difference.
No, they're not. But
that's why I said same difference.
well, I've always been the opinion it only has straights. But
they're fins. No.
Photo from Sean Geisler showing the new openings in the factory. Not quite big enough for barrel sections to come out or whatever, but anyway, looks like they put a false wall around inside to keep the factory enclosed. And they've got this massive steel coming out.
That section has never been production related. That's like the whole mezzanine for the section that goes along the highway.
Okay, so that's the outside wall of the actual factory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any ideas why these intrusion? One idea is because they maybe need to put a wall up. This is like a lintel.
A large moment frame for shear loading.
I got an idea.
It's a moment frame. Is
breakover?
No, it's a moment frame.
I was gonna say it's gonna have a conveyor belt on it. The bridge crane inside the factory will place the ring sections on it, and it'll ride over and slide, and then slide onto the turntables, and boom, that's how that's gonna work. Am I right?
We'll put the ring in the basket, or it gets the hose again.
Yeah.
So shear load. I mean, this wall here's got the load of that roof. Maybe it's not strong enough to carry the load of this roof as well. So maybe they're going to put another wall in here.
It's the mezzanine structure where that is not connected to the exterior wall. It's a freestanding structure inside of it.
Are they basically just building a case to? This is just help to connect the two things together here.
Yeah, there's going to have a expansion joint along that edge probably, and like they have 2/3 of the way down, and then by where the office building attaches.
Yeah, the shenanigans that was the office building to Star Factory setup.
Well, it's all the factory. I mean,
Yeah. At this point, it's all the factory, but back then it was the shenanigans of trying to attach it.
It was always the factory. It was people were not willing to accept. It was just a mezzanine built inside the shell of the factory. But yeah,
This
yeah,
expansion here.
there's one there, and then there's one further down towards the towards the other side, the other
Okay,
direction.
Trying to find that photo.
But yeah, there's several different expansion in this structure already. You can't.
Plus the
That
expansion between the two different
The phases. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the phases where they're experimenting on which style interior construction they liked the best. I mean, everything at the site has been used as art for R&D. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
always
and
designed to be an
I'm
R&D
kind of
site.
curious what setup they're going to have at Roberts Road. To be honest,
Yeah.
I hope they use pilings though.
I mean, again, this generally, if the shell is just for the walls, who cares? If anything that's carrying the loads are tied together properly, you kind of don't care what the outside structure is doing. It's only if you're using that structure as part of your load paths for your critical work that it comes into play.
I just meant as to keep the factory from moving.
Every building moves.
You know what I mean.
You want it moving together. It's when it doesn't move, settle at the same rate. One of my favorites, there's a museum in Italy that I think was designed to, it's settled, I think, probably over 5 meters. And nothing cracked or anything because it's all settling at the same rate. So
There's a question about the panels. Are the cladding panels only supported at the top? No, they'd be supported at the top and the bottom. So let's see if we can find the photo.
They hang and then they clip in, so they're supported by the bottom panels clip.
And this is like a well and truly well tested system. It's like this is the first time this system's been used on a building by a long shot. So, and they've had experience in high wind. I guess the question is worrying about high winds.
Almost every high rise that you see for probably 50 plus years has used this technique. It's curtain walls.
Yeah.
It's
nothing new.
They float independent of the actual structure. They're showstopper for high rises construction if they don't seal right. The testing regimes they put on them is spectacular.
I think that's the top bracket there. I'm sure about the bottom bracket.
They hang and they connect to the lower one. So in the lower one, it's just hanging off of the top bracket, off of its hanger.
The glass was something sort of similar, wasn't it? Clipped in the top and then hung off the glass panels. They kind of were attached to the top and clipped into the bottom.
Yes, they're all curtain walls.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the same. Tried and true.
Yeah, well and truly tested method, yeah. Now, let's go around I suppose we can quickly talk about, we sort of talked about a little bit before about what's going on in the bays. So in Mega Bay 1, Booster 40's locks has got its downcomer now.
What?
We saw that. Booster 20, sorry.
I was like, booster 40. Where did the other 20 boosters go?
Ryan, we both
Yeah.
know the answer to that.
You know what I meant. And of course, there's the 18.3 in there as well, which has now got its top section and its little downcomer section. So it should be rolling out soonish. Booster 40 is in the middle, I believe. No, what? I mean, ship 40. Oh, sorry.
You're not going to be happy for another year.
What?
Yeah. Booster 40 will come on sooner or later.
Sooner than we think.
A year? You think it's only a year for another 20 boosters?
Yes.
They can barely build 10 in the span of a year. Like, let's just say this. They're at booster 20, and we are, what, 4 years into the program since they started building boosters? Give or take? Now, granted, they've increased their production capability over the course of the time, but still. It currently takes them about a month and a half to stack a booster. Well, and it's been taking longer with 20 because, well, they can't finish it with 18.3. So.
Somewhere here we've got those bits that went in for the 18.3, I think. Sorry. Let me go here and search for it. There's a picture of. It doesn't matter. Probably won't find it. But there's a video of. I think it's parts of 18.3 moving through the ring yard to the.
It was back on the 12th of March.
Oh, that's far back. Wow. All right. Sorry. I might just leave that for now. Dang it. Sorry. I won't worry about that. Now, while we're in this area, we do have a really good photo, Alex, of this new docking system you were talking about, unload system. So new dock for the trucks.
Yeah, except they look like they're using the trucks almost for inventory.
Yeah, because apparently that's done quite a lot these days. The trailers are parked as sort of delivery/storage facility. This was a closer picture of just that area.
That's well, now we know what that loading dock, that entry door was for.
Yeah, didn't see that coming. See, it looks like there's only just enough room to close that door back there, doesn't it? So that's once again, that's nothing new. It's something the trucking industry has used before quite a lot. Oh wow, straight down shot of the Gigabay. Awesome. That's a good photo. All right, we're going to keep moving now because, wow, you two talk about deep dives. That's awesome.
Get me and Alex on.
I know. And we hit, I don't even think we hit our stride yet, Ryan.
We haven't even really, we haven't got the launch site yet.
True.
I know.
Speaking of, we just got another $10 super chat from Turtle Sanctuary and it's going to say info from Webby's now half caffeine and half sugar.
There you go.
It's good to see. Yeah, we could have talked about. We could still be at Massey's if we really wanted to. They're getting this clad, getting this side all ready to go. It looks good. I think I've got a front shot of it now. It doesn't matter anyway. Just moving over to this area here, the foundations. They're putting up walls. I'm not sure if these are permanent timber walls or it seems too flimsy to be formwork though, does it?
No, because you'll put the other side and they self-support. Once you once you put the pin through, they're self-supported for the most part. Why they're not using it? Yeah.
That's just the one side too. If you flip around to a picture from the other side, you see a lot of supports on the inside. You can kind of see a couple right there.
Yeah, but they normally use those steel panels. That's
Uh-huh.
sort of what I was sort of curious.
Yeah. I mean, normally you don't use plywood like this because disposing of construction waste is expensive.
You got to remember, concrete's got a lot of pressure when it comes to. Yeah, they have got it well braced, I must say.
Yeah, except
The,
you have the ties between either side, so the dowels that's connecting is what's carrying the lateral pressure.
Yep, so there's another wall to put up here and one on that side around there.
Nice big visiting center. Am I right?
Yep.
Yep.
They've got some sort of services going in, bit of work there. So that's pretty well the build site. Any questions for the build site there, Matt?
Let's see what we got real quick.
I don't care. I'm going to the launch site anyway.
Is Todd around so we can look at the plants on the parking structure?
Yeah.
Or do we have to wait for Tuesday?
Tuesday.
All right, we'll just start this little area quickly because I'm on the right photo for it. They've been doing a little bit of excavation here. I'm not sure they've been using that. Oh, it's gone. It was in the other photo. The vacuum truck to digging with the vacuum truck system thing.
Are they just bored at this point and just digging holes to dig holes? That's what it feels like. I swear.
Archaeology.
Okay.
Like,
Of course, the big
legitimately, what are they doing there?
They're looking for their lost 10 millimeters socket.
Because I would have thought that they would have concreted that up by now, or some of it at least.
They're still working on the drainage over here.
They're just screwing around with it at this point.
Drainage, those look like power vaults.
They do look like power vaults, but I'm pretty sure they're drainage bolts, aren't they? Oh, maybe not.
No.
They're combo.
A combo?
Yeah, I mean, water and electricity. It's perfect. What could go
Are
wrong?
they electrical vaults flooded with water?
It looks like it.
Yes.
Ugh. That's not a good look.
A little spicy to wake yourself up.
Yeah, maybe it's something to do with that. Maybe they're having a bit more complications than I thought with some groundwater there. You can only model so much when it comes to things to do with nature.
It's until they energize their sumps, they're going to have seepage.
Now, I did have a good picture of the roof there. I just want to do. So, of course, the big news of Tower 1 is the roof's gone on.
Tower 2, you mean?
Tower 2, that's what I said. It's actually Tower 3 if you want to get technical.
Oh, I'm not doing the OIT3 thing. It's Tower 2 for Pad 2. That's what it is.
That's what
or
it is.
Tower
Yeah.
B for Pad B.
Yeah, it's always going to be.
Name.
It's homage to suborbital B, so yeah.
It's Pad B. It's because SpaceX calling it Pad 2. You're gonna have to call it Pad 2 and stuff, but it'll always be Pad B to me.
Yeah.
Pad 2 is a stupid name.
Yeah, it's either Boca A and B. Sorry.
Yeah, Launch Complex 1 at Starbase with pads A and B. Yeah,
Yes.
that is the numerical way to say it, and SpaceX is entirely wrong for any other way that they say it.
Hear
Yep,
ye,
I don't
hear
care.
ye.
Yep, they're wrong.
I'll take no arguments on this.
Anyhow, getting back to Tower 2/B. They put the roof on. They put the lid on it finally. So they've got scaffolding here set up to put weld it on those little tabs on the side, I guess. And they've got some protection down here on the tower on the QD arm for the welding operations.
Slagafall?
Yeah, especially on the actuator here, for the chrome on the actuator here, especially they've protected.
They were doing. They were also doing some grinding on the SQD last night. I don't know what, but they were doing something.
Yeah,
cool.
Pitting on those is frowned upon. It's great for the skills.
Is it frowned upon?
It doesn't do the seal much good, yeah. Yeah, that's a precise, high-pressure seal that needs to be perfectly clean and kept nice, yeah. Unless you go for electric actuators, we'll leave that one for now. So, static fire. We did do a static fire. That I will bring up on X here. It was on a Tuesday, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
The 1 second static fire because of a GSE abort. I wonder what it was.
Yeah, what
Stunning
day was that?
possibilities.
I'm not going to find it now, dang it. I had it all lined up and everything ready to go. Oh, I've got it over here. I've got it down here. Got it over here. Oh, dang it. SLS, it rolled out. Now, just bear with me for a sec.
It's still funny how they use plywood to protect the road because
It's a
NASA
nice
can't come up
image.
with anything else.
Nice images from SpaceX coming through as a static fire was actually happening.
I was hoping they'd redo it for a longer duration, but whatever.
Oh, just on a side note, it's 100 years since the first flight of a liquid fueled rocket.
Yep.
So this was 1924. So the liquid tanks are down the bottom here with the propellant and the oxidizer, and the actual engine's at the top. And these are the supply lines to the engine or motor, I guess you call them. Rocket engine. Yeah. So we had a static fire. That was pretty exciting. The plume looks pretty cool. So Alex, SpaceX actually said it was an aborted static fire.
Yeah.
But I disagree on the duration of people saying under a second.
You're saying that because of the water here. You can see when the water has turned to steam to when the water turns back to liquid again, yeah?
Yep.
It's like a second, maybe two. It's hard to tell exactly how long it was, but it wasn't under a second. I know that.
I mean, I've heard people say it's under 0.8 of a second, which I just...
No, Raptor, to go from spin up, ignite to actually producing thrust, Raptor takes like a second or a little over a second to do that. So no, they ignited and got thrust. If it hadn't even ignited at all, if they hadn't even gotten to full ignition, I think they would have tried again. But the fact that they got ignition, and I think they even got thrust out of it, which is probably like a second and a half, they figured, okay, that's enough data for this. Let's just install the rest of the engines and move forward, rather than wasting another day out at the launch site and trying to do for a longer duration. Might as well do the longer duration with all the engines installed. You know, that's basically what they decided. They said, screw it, whatever.
Another thing you pointed out to me, Alex, in the Tuesday show was the ice particles coming through the plume. I mean, through the cloud.
Yeah.
You can see them here, these ice particles coming through, like here. And here, these solid bits and pieces of ice coming off the booster.
Do we not have audio off any of these videos that we can measure how long the boom was?
They're probably not synced.
Yeah, it's a little over a second, though. I know that for a fact.
Actually, this clip doesn't have audio.
I don't know. But I know it definitely wasn't under a second.
Long enough that SpaceX was happy.
Yeah, if it was... Yeah. Basically, that's the crux of it. Is long enough that they were happy with the initial firing and they're ready to move on. Basically.
So, any idea what the ground side issue may have been?
How much time do we have?
Right. Yeah, okay, Tuesday show. Okay, deep dive.
No. How much time do we have at Tuesday's show?
Like, you could go through
failure paths.
Like, you could.
Yeah.
It's Who knows?
We'll leave that. We'll leave that question for now. Then, by the sounds, that might be a good idea to
Unless
leave it for now.
SpaceX tells us, we could speculate to the sun goes cold. Like
Death of the
seriously.
universe.
Yeah, we could speculate to the heat death of the universe for all we know, or whatever, or however the universe dies at this point. But basically, unless SpaceX were to tell us, we'll never know.
Look at that illusion. It looks like the cryopipes are up in the top of the tower here.
You mean they're not? What tips over? Well, from past experience, a conservative parameter was probably set.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
And something tripped that parameter.
Yeah.
Something good.
Yeah, fair enough. Yep. Now we'll move on from that then. I will revisit that question on Tuesday, though, Alex, if you don't mind. So we can see these little tabs that hung down when they lifted it. I thought people were saying there might be some clamps in the middle too. Some like they put some pins in, some clevises in the middle.
There was out at the corners.
At the corners. Oh, these. Okay, yep. So these were here.
Yeah, those are 4 main load transfer points.
But these will get welded too, won't they? Obviously, because they're protecting down below from welding.
Yeah, and that's probably for dampering, breaking a simple span, so you won't have the two resonating at different rates.
Oh, so this doesn't vibrate.
Yeah, so they vibrate together in phase rather than out of phase.
And that could even break some harmonics, couldn't it? Make less harmonics available.
Yeah, I mean, harmonics are limited to your free span since they have to be full waves.
Alrighty. So we did see an interesting thing where was to see how any discoloration or anything went on with the flame bucket, and it appears...
When I see discoloration, you have a problem. With that short of a fire, you would have had a major problem, I think.
Yeah, you wouldn't...
There shouldn't be any... With that quick of a static fire, with how much water they have, there shouldn't literally be any indication that one actually happened.
Yeah, obviously, but it was still interesting to see if there was. I thought this was a bit of discoloration. I think it's just this light and shadow interacting to make that look darker, just because of what we see here.
And there's a hole density on that portion. On the light side, you can see where the hole density changes in the reflectivity. Because across the crest it almost looks like they have 2 or 3 times as many holes as they do on the sides.
Oh, the HOL hole density, not the WHO hole density.
Well, yeah.
Very good.
Then we can get into the pixel density and luminance, and yeah.
All right, we'll move on. We'll keep moving on. It's not a great deal to look at the launch site, really. So it's good to see a static fire. That's awesome after all this time. The whole system is alive for the booster side anyway. It's alive. Frankenstein's come to life. So still waiting for the ship side to come alive. We noticed in the pump farm, they still haven't hooked up the ship side of things. So there's still a bit of time yet before they start pumping fluids up there, at least for for purging and testing, whatever. But still, ship's a long way away still.
Yeah,
they do chill line too.
And the ship's also a much simpler system since you're just filling the tanks essentially. You're not having to play with startup pressures and anything and all the other good stuff since the ship handles all of its ignition and its valves and fluid flows.
You basically just got to load all the COPVs and the headers and the mains on the ship, and then the booster pushes it up, and then the ship takes care of the rest on its own.
Yeah. Yeah, and the communications between the vehicles and syncing their clocks.
So, Alex, we saw these parts
clock out like you did on Starliner. What?
Yeah.
So we saw these parts on that pipe last week here. Are those parts down in here now? Are they those parts in here, down here?
Yeah. You can see the actuators pointing outwards, you can see the two loops, and then it heads over under the LOX lines and disappears from view.
I think my assumption is that it's got to be hooked up to booster because they were using it during, during testing once they installed it. And I do find it funny that they started testing without it, and then they started using it during testing. Like the first two tests didn't have it, and the last two tests did have it. I just find it funny that they just literally changed it in the middle of testing.
Oh, they've done a lot of changes over here in the last few weeks.
And what are they insulating here, protecting? Was that some kind of control board?
Yeah, there's the whole paneling to control this subassembly is there.
It's a new vent, basically.
Oh, that's all new for this vent.
It's probably when they were welding it, but they've been doing a lot of changes. Oh, there's a teaser. That's weird.
I noticed there's a T sitting down here. The better shot somewhere. They've installed a T in here and added an extra actuator or something in here.
They probably noticed something during loading. When they went to load methane, that they might want to have more control to that. Then I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know when it happened, but the N LOX tank is fully a LOX tank now.
Ah, they've changed that.
Yeah,
there's a few things that they messed with. They've messed around a lot of stuff during the testing, and they're changing things after the testing. So basically, they learned a few things over the 4 full tanking tests that they did, and they're making some changes here and there.
So that piece, we saw them at Sanchez last week. There was 2, but they've used them. Oh, there's the second one there. So they've actually added another hole, one of these bypass valves for the methane side.
It's the exhaust for the nitrogen for the gas from the subcoolers.
Basically, adding a fourth run gives you so you can split the exhaust flow between 4 rather than 3. So they found something to where they need to be able to split it up more to have more flow, to have a better flow rate between the actual exhaust line and the exhaust port itself.
Or it's for availability.
Yeah, or that. So something they saw, or if they were already planning on it, but it could be related to the testing that I think they had this stuff off to the side for a while, and then when they went and ran this, they went, maybe we want a little bit more availability or more flow or whatever.
So just jumping in here, as far as I know, these actuators are here to create. See over here, they don't have any pressure, back pressure, so they can freely boil. Whereas over here on the methane side, they can control the pressure in the nitrogen side of the heat exchanger here. Maybe they couldn't release enough and the pressure remained too high in here and they couldn't get the methane down cold enough. And they need to add a bit more flow to get this pressure down a little bit in here.
Or it's for availability, so that how many of those actuators can they lose during prop load to maintain the flow rate?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
so
basically for redundancy.
Yeah, availability.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I understand the whole exhaust system.
Yeah, so
they can't. The funny thing is if they want to do that with ship, they have to flip the vent around, or
it's a bit
they can't even do that because
they can move it along. They can move that along and add a T at this end and move
they
this
would
all
have to
up.
cut it out and slide it over or something if they wanted to do that with ship. But
yeah, you just slide the whole assembly down.
Yeah,
put it at the
but
end.
Either way, they'll have to see how ship works when they go to do ship, but we'll see what changes they make because I expect at least a tanking test when they stack it and then a wet dress rehearsal. Then they'll look at everything to make sure everything's good, and then they'll go for launch.
And they'll modify things, and then they'll go for launch.
Yeah, they might. I mean,
yeah.
And then if they abort for whatever reason, they use that as a test. That's kind of how they've always run it. So that's kind of what I expect them to do, at least.
So the LOX line, which one is that?
It's the right there. No, if you head down, the vent line is.
Well, that's the LOX line there, isn't it?
Yeah, but I was referring to the liquid vapor, the return vent that they were using when they're testing to backflow into the tanks. It there dives down underneath, and I'm assuming I haven't been able. That's the outlet, and that's wired into the supply like it's always been. Its pressure building circuit's connected just like its friend is. Its fill line is connected. Its vent lines. So it's all in line with the normal. And the outlet from the vapor line, I think, it dives down, it's running underneath, and I think it's tying into the main drain system they have for all the tanks in this area, which lead to the box fans that they have in between the nitrogen and the LOX tanks further up. No, the next gap. Yeah. Those 3 box fans are for the. There's a common drain that all of these tanks drain into that they vaporize here.
Cool. Now, just quickly in the middle here, that's not the middle. We've got that. What's going on with my ordering? The bunker's got its waste tank buried now and going to get concreted over. I swear I had this all ordered properly. Just give me a second.
1, 2.
You always keep me to that. This one will do. Dang it. This will do fine. So they got this prepared for concreting. So that's obviously permanent concrete.
Permanent in quotation marks. I still find it funny when they added that new vent line. It just vents off to the side, and there's nothing like there's no like pond or anywhere that it vents to or whatnot. I wonder if eventually they would try to vent that back to the box fan at some point.
I think it'll go away.
You think it's temporary for
Yeah.
other things? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're in test space. Alex has always said to me, if something looks wrong or odd, it's probably just something they're putting in temporary for their test phase. Like this over here, there's all sorts of things around the place they've had. Like in here, there've been lots and lots and lots of things they've had just for the testing phase, and then they go away.
Remember when we thought the swapping of the subcoolers was testing?
Yes.
And then it wasn't?
Remember when they had the LOX pumps cycling through the reclamation tanks?
I do, yeah.
So yeah, they do wacky things. So yes, the pads for those footers for the new tanks.
I'll go there in a sec, Alex. Sorry,
it's going to be 3 and 3. Yeah.
3 and 3, yeah. 3 and 3, yeah. Oh, so you're telling me that indicates what tank's going there, aren't you?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, sorry. I'll go there. I must have added some photos at some stage. Everything's out of order on me, dang it. So while I'm on this photo, because it's a good photo for a change, that's the old methane supply line, and now they've added this. You know, I thought they were gonna use the larger diameter, but they're staying with that diameter. And we can see there's 2 extra ones here for 2 extra tanks here already. And then there's the 4 here for those 4 tanks. And yeah, back at Sanchez, we saw those link. It sort of looks like that, yeah.
Yeah, but they're going to be. I think the loop is flex, and they're going to have the risers probably going to be solid.
Oh, like over here, sort of.
Yeah, where they're using the flex over, and then they have the solid riser because they also have at least 4 towers that they're going to encase the risers in.
Oh, those towers are here. Yep, here. Yep.
Yeah, those are for supporting the risers. Yeah.
And then the the return thing, the methane return thing's this one over here, yeah?
Yeah, that's a vapor return. The one underneath it is the silver one, the pressure building. The black one is the fill line. And I think the little skinny one, I'm assuming, is for the pneumatics, for all the valves.
Okay, yeah. And there's another one in here.
That's that's control.
Oh, gotcha. Yep, electrical. Yep, cool. So that's all coming along. That's pretty well ready for these last couple of. So last week I think we saw. Oh, there's one T for that one, yeah, and then there's another T for this one, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, those are nearly ready to be connected.
So right now that means the methane systems can't be used, yeah, because there's no valve here to cut this bit off.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah.
No,
the tanks are isolated.
Yeah.
For the outlets are isolated. The vent and the fill lines are still there, active.
Yeah, so I can still fill these methane tanks down here.
Well, when they do the reclamation, they send the liquids back into the fill system.
Yeah,
but they get the bog vent gas, and they look.
That's a lot of embeds just sitting around. I see all those embeds sitting up there.
Yeah, I was gonna address that. There's another photo from the other angle there. Just while I got this shot here, I'm pretty sure these are the old lock sumps. Here we can see the 5 lock sumps.
I think recently somebody was asking if they ever dug those out. I think we laughed and laughed, and this is why we laughed.
They just left them there and then filled them in. That's all they did.
Yeah, and this is where they're.
That's the new methane offload, isn't it?
It's either going to be the methane offload or it's going to be the LOX and nitrogen
offload.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
Are they going to do it where are they going to finally have a system where they can pull in and hook up rather than have to back in every time? They need to do that.
It would be nice if they did a one-way, sort of like they have at Brownsville ASU.
They should have a one-way, especially with how many they bring in. Like, dear Lord.
Let's actually drive in and then go around.
Or you could just drive around, and if they concreted the damn thing, drive around and go out through the roundabout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll drive in here and go back out
literally take out that comms bunker because that thing is worthless at this point. Knock down and then literally make a system to where you can drive under, hook up, unload, and then drive around and out through the roundabout. Like, I don't know why they just don't do that right now. Granted, this entire system's going to change again in not too long, but here we are.
That would also allow them to use the ASUs as a fill point for masses.
Yeah, so basically you create one fill point not only for trucks but for ASU, right?
Yeah, or fill in like ASU out so they can either offload or load to the propellant farm. Yeah, would be nice. I don't think they're going to do that.
Yeah,
but
have one system to where they can do everything in. Why would SpaceX do that?
Magic.
So take LOX and nitrogen from here too, masses, you mean?
Yeah.
Off the ASU.
Yeah. That's ideal. Yeah, so it's triple.
Sense,
So does that mean they're the tanks at masses, the triple embeds?
Those aren't triple embeds at masses.
No, the ones that would be triple embeds would either be the really big ones down there, like those methane ones, or the really big ones that have been used at 39A.
Yeah, I think those are 1,200 cubic meter.
Which That's a lot of methane that they're going to have.
So you're saying these are the 950s, aren't they? And the
Yeah.
ones at Massey's are the thousands. And what are these ones?
They're probably 800s.
Basically, they'll have enough with those 4 plus the 2, and then the 2 new ones they're going to bring in. That should be enough methane for 2.5 launches
Yeah.
with spare. Yeah.
Yeah, because
At least 2 launches with a lot of spare, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, the large tanks at 39A, they're shorter than the 950s.
Okay, but they're bigger diameter.
Yeah, there's the same. I think they're the same diameter as these 2 end ones, except probably 25% longer.
So
okay,
yeah, basically they're putting all this in there, and that'll be the methane set up there, and that'll stay until they're able to move it all to a new site, basically.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to keep the methane right at the trench exit. That would be no, they're not going to do that. Like not right next to the trench exit. That.
Yeah, I mean the blast wall. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it pays out.
Right. But because what I see them doing is so you get what that's gonna be 6, 7, 8. So it's gonna be 8 methane tanks, in a line. All different sizes, but still it'll do what they need it to do. All the old methane tanks go, and then where those old methane tanks are is gonna be LOX and LN2 expansion, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. LOX and LN2 expansion, all that fills that, which you bring you either get the 1,000, the 1,000s, or you bring the 950s, whichever one you want. You bring in all those in and fill that up, and then you move the entire methane tank farm over to the little square there. So the methane's separated from the other 2 props, and then you just run a cryo trench, and at one point you run a cryo trench up, and then you just split the supply line, which you basically could run the supply line right up to that blast wall right there, or right under that blast wall, like right by the methane reclamation tanks, and just have the methane supply line just run up and hook into the top of that, where they have the supply that they have.
Yeah, instead of turning left, it turns right.
Yeah, and then the other, and then it splits off as well to hook up to the entire pad 1 pump farm setup, and boom, there you go, done.
There's another pump farm here somewhere.
Yeah, it'll probably be around where that break room is.
Yeah. So storage for methane over here, or just the liquefaction over here? All of it. Okay.
I mean they have it broken up for their liquefaction and purification stages. So
there was one part over here and one part over here too, wasn't there?
I wonder if they would, because looking at it, and of course this deep dive, but do you stick all your storage there, and then you maybe all the way in the corner there that's ways away from both trench exits, you put all your liquefaction and then line it in, and then use the rest of the room for whatever you want to use it for, if you know what I mean.
It depends on the composition of their feed gas, or how much work they have to do, how much cleanup they have to do to it.
Alrighty, cool.
Yeah.
Let's go on to pad 1. So
Scrap.
Making good progress on the piling, on the sheet piles.
Yeah, we can see the basement here getting boxed in with the sheet piling or slash commodities trench. And that's it'll go around this edge of the trench, but instead of going back that way, of course, it should go straight across to the this photo should show it. Come straight across to this pump farm here, yeah.
The purging and isolation, which will be there next to the entire deluge system, and then the pump farm and heat exchangers will be on the other side of the water deluge farm. So you're going to probably have the pumps, heat exchangers, which will be kind of like just opposite of the pad 2 of the pad B ones. I'm going to call it pad B. And then there's going to be a road in between them. And then next to those is your water deluge, and next to that is your isolation, purging, pre-pressed gas, and then or whatever, or something along those lines. They might make it like that. They might put it in a line. I guess it really, we'll have to see what it looks like when it's all said and done. But
the prop lines are going to come this way. They're not going to need to duck back that way like they do at pad 2 and 39A. They're going to come straight across here somewhere.
Yeah, they're going to duck because isolation. They're going to run on the perimeter of isolation and purging. The main prop lines, just like at 39 and just like here. Isolation and purging is for the gas system.
Pretty much all, other than the actual lines inside the heat exchanger pump system, pretty much everything's going to be in a trench again over here because of the little amount of room they have and all the exhaust that comes out. Would be my guess. 39A, they're able to put a lot of it above ground because they have the room to. And 37 is going to be the same way. 37 is going to have a lot of it above ground.
Yeah, because the isolation purging deflector farm for pad B is basically just flip it for here.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Where are we? Back. There we are. Back. So this little area here looks like to me a staging area. Yeah. Maybe with concrete.
Well, they have to concrete.
Definitely. I mean, they've already started putting layout lines.
Cool. Now, can I get the edge of over there? Let me see. Layout lines?
Yep, right there. You can, bottom of the frame. The red. Up top of frame. Right where it's, gotcha, yeah, right there. Yeah. And this looks like it's a sand layer, which is what they usually have directly underneath the concrete.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to get this there. So over here we've got some of the GC bunker for the trench, next to the trench, and we've got the roof of the lid over here. I mean the oh, excuse my voice. The new roof of pad 1 as well, tower.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that 11K rolled over shortly. That 11K should have enough lifting. It should have more than enough lifting capacity if they wanted to tear apart the SQD arm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a feeling
use that for it.
I have a feeling that Keller's going to relocate after the jet grouting's done, so that the 11K will camp, or the demo. Actually, no, the demo people, the big excavators at the end of the tanks. That's probably where they're going to start staging the replacement innards for the tower.
Yeah, because they need to basically they kind of need that concreted area. Yeah. The hilarious part on the other, right?
Yeah.
On the other side there, they need that because they need a better staging area for stuff.
Yeah, that's going to get concreted probably this week. Part of me was wondering, and now it doesn't look like it, if they were going to build the OLM out here, and that's why the pile rig is sitting at the ready where it is. But
yeah, because there are hints that the mounts for 37 are going to get built at 37, which, the more I think about it, the more it makes sense, because imagine having to move that mount from Roberts Road to 37.
Yeah, I thought, and the amount of stuff they're going to be building at Sanchez, or look like they were going to build at Sanchez, now I think they're going to be in all the local fabrication shops SpaceX has for all the finishing out of Gigabay.
Like, I wonder if they would use, once they really concrete a lot of this, I wonder if they would use the launch site to build like the new SQD arm and everything else, just because Sanchez is about to, at some point, Sanchez is going to become a construction site for work platforms and work stands.
Exactly. Yeah, I think this whole back corner is going to be paved over and turn into their fabrication for pad 1 or A. I'm going to
Or
call
scrap.
it A for scrap.
Pad 1A scrap.
Yeah,
There you
aka
go.
scrap.
Yeah.
Pad scrap, aka pad A.
Yeah, this is gonna. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. It's gonna get turned into a fabrication area, staging / fabrication.
This probably cool.
Yeah, they finally have the room, and from the overheads at 37, it's pretty obvious they're doing similar.
The next tower will likely get built there too. I think Tower 2 will get built at 37. But
Definitely.
basically, I think they're going to use the entire area at 37 to fabricate as much as they can of
And
the large components.
And especially at 37, because they have that area just adjacent where they're planning on building the ASU and stuff.
Yeah, they have so much room there to build rather than use up Roberts Road, which Roberts Road there's a lot of room there, but they need that room to build. There you go. I think it'll be where they're storing that tower down there. Down at the bottom there. I think that's where they're going to build the next tower as well. Once that tower is stacked, they'll start building the next one down there. I just don't know where they'll build the mount out here, but I have a feeling the mount's going to get built out here. It makes the most sense.
I think where that muck pile is, right below, where there's a wider, right up there where all the spoils are for part of the tank farm.
Think they're going to build it right where the tank farm's going to be?
No, up between
Above
that
it?
and Malcolm's camp.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of room there to do it because and then you don't have to move it far. You literally just have to pick it up, move it slightly over. The 13K picks it up, places in place, and boom, you're done. That's all you got to do. So,
yeah, spectacular.
Okay, let's move on to the ASU. So yeah, good progress on Pad A. Well, finally, Alex, you're going to call it Pad A and not Pad Scrap. That's
No,
that's
it's going to be scrapped. No.
Okay, I think last week we might have seen this is a much better image today. We can see the drive shafts are put in place. We saw this last week. The water manifold on this side's been set up. So, Alex, tell me, is this water? Hang on, that's not a good shot. Is this water over here for this area? Is it this water in here? Would that be for in here?
No, those are going to tie back to those lines. There's only a little bit of water is needed into the central section.
So most of the water's for this section, yeah?
Yeah, there's only 2 intercoolers in the turbine compression area.
Cool.
Yeah, and then they still need there's one more intercooler that needs to be put in. But yeah, that one's the outlet. That what's the yellow is the out from this first staging. Then there should be a direct contact intercooler, or not intercooler at that point, because that'll be the first stage of the purification system. That's what this water's for. The green one is probably for that, and the blue one is the replacement water. The gray lines are the circulating water to the cooling towers.
In here? No,
the cooling towers that they haven't built yet on the wing. Yeah. Except for the 2 intercoolers, there shouldn't be any water in the compression, in the liquefaction area.
Cool. So we're calling this the compression area, and this is the
that's a compressor hall. No, that one there is that's a turbo compression, because they're using turbo expanders to spin a compressor that for one of the boost stages. The lower one is the pre-purification area. Then you have the main heat exchanger, the interconnect cold box, and then you have the main cold box. But yeah, those front 3 structures are all cold boxes. They're The one that has the main heat exchanger, and that one, and that ties the two together as they interconnect. But yeah, those are all cold boxes.
Cold boxes. Cool. Now, up to the side here. Where's that shot? Yeah, here we go. Man, this conduit seems to be breeding, I'm
Want
telling
some
you.
conduit with your conduit that goes with your conduit? That
It
goes with
looks
your
like there's going to be a building here by the look of it, to be honest.
Those are for feeding. Most of those are going to be for feeding the cooling towers. I think we have a picture of the Brownsville one somewhere, which...
One sec. I'm not sure I've got that quickly on hand, sorry.
Yeah.
Let's just have a quick look here. There was a distance shot of the Brownsville one. I didn't know we had a close-up one.
We don't. It doesn't have to be that close. It's just block level. Because the cooling towers are large rectangular structures.
Oh, yeah, I know what two cows look like. Yeah.
And they're making a bunch of rectangular areas. And yeah, you have one group feeding each assembly.
Oh, so that'll be like a bank of them here.
Yeah, so all the way up and down this is going to be the end of the line. You can see where all the outlets are.
This is where the main water comes out, isn't it?
Yeah, those are outlets for the, and there might be more of them. Yeah. Inlet and outlet for the intercoolers.
They're backfilling this section along here. Last week they extended that crane. I didn't realise that. Cool, so that's our issue coming along. So now, I think we're pretty well done. I did say 2.5 hours there for you, Ryan, so we're within 10 minutes, so that's good. You had some things to get on with the rest of your day. So, Matt, we'll just go back to chat and go quickly if there's any last-minute questions and donations, please.
We did have one more donation from Turtle Sanctuary. It was $10. It was when you guys were ranting about what could possibly have been the reason why the static fire got cut short. And so he said, will there be a show on Sunday?
Tuesday expanded, Matt, yeah?
Yeah, it was just when we were talking about that, they were like, how much time do you have? You know, and so he's like, okay, will there be a show on Sunday? Just a joke.
Yeah. Cool. I get it. Yeah. It's sometimes. Yeah, I know we need. That's why we have the Tuesday show because we need. Sometimes we do need that extra time to do those deeper dives into little things here and there. That's exactly why Matt came up with the Tuesday show, which has turned out to be quite a good thing, actually.
Yeah, it's enjoyable for sure. So, on the point of that static fire, Topical Fish was wondering how many engines were static fired. Do we know?
10.
Yeah, all 10.
There's 10. Yeah.
Cool. All right, some other things that we've got. Let's see. Praj is asking, what are the 3 small things that are sticking off on top of each booster quick disconnect?
The sensor array for positioning?
I think that's what they are.
Yeah.
Which, let's hope they figure out a way to do that come launch. Or I hope those don't need to be like a thing that's added and taken away between stackings, and they figure out another way to do it, because otherwise that'll then become the equivalent of having to do the stabilizers every time.
I think they're going to be replaced with reflectors. So
yeah, I mean, once they have the whole machine dialed in, they might not even need them after all. But yeah, reflectors, yeah, that might be a better idea. And have the senders somewhere over here out of the way.
Yeah.
And Crane Man had a question about Gigabay, asking, do they need turntables for every bay for ships and boosters inside of the Gigabay? Or will boosters and ships be supported by something else?
They need turntables for the stacking bays. Everything else will have a work stand that they can just place the shipper booster on, so they have a lifting table, so they can they can remove and attach engines and get under the shipper booster. But the 6 stations that are closest to the Star Factory should be. We think it looks based off everything. They're all going to have their own bridge cranes to help with stacking, and then they'll all have a turntable in them, so that they can turntable with welding robots and all that other jazz that they need for stacking.
And a door to the factory.
Yep. Or an open way to the factory to move sections close, basically.
Or they'll just get boxed in and connected.
One way or the other. I mean,
Yeah.
either way, that's going to be the stacking stations.
And then some of the work stands, like for the factories, they have turntables in them as well. I mean, they're not of the same precision as the ones that they use at the welding stations.
I am still curious if they will change, if they'll finally do the methane tank to LOX tank weld on booster will be done with a robot in Gigabay, because it's still done manually right now. So I'd be curious to know if they'll change or not.
I'm sure it's all going to.
Crane Man was also wondering, why is the retraction of the OLM-B clamps not heard? I remember we could hear a loud bang when pad A's used to be retracted.
It's a better system.
It might be a good thing that we can't hear them.
Just a totally different mechanism, to be honest. Just a totally different mechanism altogether.
They still have that timing issue where if they're not out of the way, it's going to be a very bad day.
Yeah.
The inside of that mount. Yep.
Well, when it rips off that bell.
Yeah, that too.
Takes out its neighbor.
All right. Back over to the Gigabay, Ribby's asking, do you think the turntables would move between stations incrementally building the boosters?
Yeah, you'd think you'd move the vehicle, because the turntables you want, that's your reference plane, so to speak. So you want those as stable as possible. It's sort of like when your CNC machine, however, the blocks that it's sitting on is leveled, and if that vibrates, it kind of everything cascades downhill.
They'll have, like, for the booster, they'll have like in Megabay here, they'll have 2 different turntables, one for LOX, and then they'll switch it over to that one and then build a methane, and then they'll move the whole thing, maybe stack the whole thing together on this turntable, then move the booster over to the other side to finish it off, and they can start a new booster again, and another ship and another ship maybe.
They'll probably have one that's optimized just for stacking the field of the tanks, so to speak, because you have the couple of tricky welds, and yeah, the LOX to the aft is screaming. That one is not going to be automating that. Making that robotic run is going to be fun.
The tank weld.
Yeah, well, even the transfer tube weld, they just added
any of it's gonna just be pure fun shenanigans when they try to figure out how to do it in Gigabay, because I think they're going to want to try to automate as much of it as possible. Right now, they're totally fine with doing things manually because, well, they're not really. They want to build boosters quick, but also they don't really have the capability to do it. Not with the way Megabay is set up But once you get Gigabay going, they should have the capability to do all that. So,
And there's a very good possibility that they've had each station configured in Gigabay or Megabay 1 or 2, and then they switch it over, and then they test for another station's configuration. It's just like how we saw the center bay for putting, how they had it configured for putting on the ships, whatchamacallit, raceways.
yeah. I like that. I like how they have that set up now, and of course that's going to reflect over in Gigabay as well. But
Right. But it's however they slice up the jobs. They don't have enough workstations to map that with their existing setup.
yeah,
And is there any sections that like for stacking, you could stack ship or booster parts, so you don't have to have each station only for one of the vehicles? Like when you're building a tank, are there sections of that the same techniques used? There's lots of optimizations is all I'm getting at.
there's a lot, and I think it's part of the reason why they haven't got any approval to build a Star Factory yet at Roberts Road. But I bet they're also kind of taking the time to learn how to build a Block 3 ship and booster, so they can make the most efficient Star Factory at Roberts Road, because I think it's going to be a decent amount different than the one we've got here,
Right.
with all the lessons learned. So,
and that sort of, they need the Gigabay to fly vehicles.
Yep.
And if that's wrong, oh well, that's just one building. The entire factory, I think they want to see, and also we can tell from how they're still doing all their tests and stuff, they're not ready yet to just be cooking out V3s.
They're not even close to ready. They don't have pads.
Yeah, there's no real fire yet, other than we need to build something. Our hair's on fire, and it's like, okay, we built a lot of stuff. Do we really want to make Roberts Road also a temporary R&D site?
Robert Road should be the main production and flight site. Period.
Yeah. So whatever lessons learned, they kind of need Star Factory's production lines moving at close to full tilt, I think, before they completely sign off on an idea. I don't even think they've signed off on the shell yet.
Okay, Matt, how are we going for other questions?
We'll rapid fire through a few more real quick. What's everybody's guesses on how many launches are going to be this year and next year? What do you think, Ryan?
5 this year, max, with 1 from the Cape. I think that's all they're going to get. We're already near the end of March, and they're not really that close to launching Flight 12. Flight 13, the ship is finished. The booster's not even half done yet. And then Flight 14 doesn't. The ship has got its payload bay, and the booster isn't even started, unless they were to catch 20 and reuse it for 14. And then you go beyond that, and at one point you're gonna have to take a booster and a ship from Starbase and transport it over to the Cape, which then takes a flight away from Starbase. So, yeah, I think 5 at the max at this rate. And then the next year is a big open question mark, because at that point you likely have Gigabay here with work stands usable, maybe some work stands usable. Roberts Road, they'll definitely have some usable, because they're going to need a place to work on engines. So I think they'll speed run a couple of work stands for ships and boosters, just so they have it. Work platforms, whatever, they'll probably wait on that. But just a work stand to place a booster on, so they can get access to the engines. I think that's going to be a requirement. Maybe 10 next year. It's a big question mark, because they have a lot to catch up on. So I don't really know.
Interesting. That question was by an Albandian, by the way. He also asks, with the new pad at Pad B or 2 or whatever you want to call it, how many launches do you think that pad's going to take before it needs big refurbishment?
Define big refurbishment. That's
Hopefully
my thing.
heaps.
Well, probably to have to take some things apart and, maybe ridge cap or something like that.
The hope for me is that thing could take like 100 launches before they really got to replace things. That's the hope, I think, for SpaceX too.
There's some good answers for that in Zach Golden's CSI Starbase latest video. Actually, he talks about that a little bit in his latest video.
And to be honest, the thing I'll say real quick is it's not really even an educated guess. Also, I just noticed the hilarious outline of those white lines. It's not really even an educated guess because no one has ever built a rocket this powerful and used a deluge system quite like this before. So you can run the computer models all you please, but until you launch a bunch from it, you won't really know how long it can actually last.
To interject, they've fired how many hours at Massey's? I mean, at McGregor. This is essentially the same tech they've been using for all of their hot fire stands for over a decade. It's a common technique that's used pretty much across most aerospace companies for testing their engines and their deluge using pipe channels with the lead holds. So they should have at least SpaceX should have a very good database from all their static fires of how much erosion they should be expecting. And excluding the plume to plume interactions, it's a box, right? You know how much water flow you need through the system to dissipate the energy, and you scale accordingly. You add your safety factor to that, and it's personally, I think it should be as reliable as their test stands.
I think that's one of your computer control winches right there. That's a tagline.
Yeah, all the way up. Yep.
And for everybody who it scales, it's sort of you have a single lane or you have an interstate. Just because you have 10 lanes of traffic, it's not suddenly each segment is carrying the same amount of load. It's just it has to be more reliable to handle the duty cycle. It's 33 Raptors is not the ground pressure per square meter, per square inch, per square foot is no different between each per unit of area. The plume, the pressure, the mass flow coming out per bell is having 33. It's across 33 times area. You're not condensing it down to a single point. So the challenges are you being able to move your fluids in the confined space that you're working with. That's where the challenge comes in. And then, of course, there's the interplume interactions and the surface interactions. But overall, it's at a point it starts becoming it's a scaling.
They probably have a number of how many launches they think it can go, and they'll find out once they start using it more.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, and it's when you're scaling up to reaction, what interactions will that have? It's like there's certain things that you always have to keep at a small scale. There's certain things you do as you increase. You have different concerns then. But yeah, the number of Raptors isn't so much the issue. Your ground pressures per unit area stays the same. It's how the volume that you're working with and your flow rates that becomes a challenge.
And I got just one more question for you guys. So we got from Vetinari asks, so after seeing all this progress with the ships, stands, and related hardware, what are your guesses regarding the ship testing order? Do you think ship 40 first with new cryo stand, or ship 39 with the same stand, or maybe a static fire?
I'm not sure yet.
My hope is they put 39 and thrust sim it. Simply, I know SpaceX worded the tweet where they said the cryo-proof testing was done. I know they worded it that way, but considering everything else you have to do, why not take a couple of days and thrust sim the ship? Why not? It seems stupid not to be honest, especially with the aft dome changes. But if not, then it's 40. But I'm going to still say it's 39 until it's not 39. Basically.
Yeah. Is there any as a prep that they're doing to 39 would have to be undone to do a thrust sim test? How much instrumentation do they need to add to it? I think they'll send 40 first and right afterwards send 39 myself, but
we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I could flip-flop. I'd be very surprised if 39 doesn't get a thrust sim.
Then again, I'm wrong a lot, so take that to the bank.
I mean, we should keep a scorecard, see who's wrong more. It's close, man.
Cool. Thanks, Matt.
That's everything.
All right, cool. All right, awesome once again, Alex and Ryan Webber. That's awesome. Thanks, Ryan, for your time today, and we thank NSF for well, I don't mean to say allowing you to be with us, but you know what I mean. So yeah, thanks very much for your time today, Ryan.
Yeah, no problem. It's always fun to sit and especially talk with Alex and you and talk Starship and everything. And yeah.
I always enjoy when I've got Alex and you together. It always makes my job a lot easier, that's for sure. And yeah, between you, the knowledge is quite impressive. So, and once again, Alex, thank you very much for your time today.
No worries. It was fun, like always. And yeah, see you Tuesday.
And I've been Stephanie B, and I'm going to hand it over to Matt to do the sign-ups. And I will obviously thank Matt for running the stream and pushing the buttons and turning the knobs and all that sort of stuff. So thank you very much, Matt, and I'll leave it with you. Thank you.
As always, it's my pleasure, and we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us, watching the show, and all the people that donate and our Patreon members and everything. We really appreciate having you guys around. You are what makes the channel go round. So don't forget, we have our new show, Starbase Expanded, on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central. So that'll be going on in just a few days' time. And with that, we will see you then. Most engines cut off. Hot staging confirmed. Love you. Bye.